Reece, it's usually the Chelsea left-back that's getting the goal-scoring headlines. You're catching him up though. How did that feel today?
Yeah, it was obviously good to help the team and score 2 goals. They're obviously a very good side. We saw how hard it was to break them down in the first half, and it took some time.
Yeah, talk us through your goals. The first one, a brilliant one on the left foot, and then the second one in an empty net, but you didn't half blast it.
Yeah, I was going to take it first time, but I thought let me take a touch, and I opened up on my left foot, so I took it with my left. And the second one, as you said, was an empty goal, so I just put my foot through it.
Yeah, no chance of maybe getting a hat-trick? Did you fancy the penalty?
I'm not on penalties. If I was, then maybe it would have been another story, but I'm glad we won and we kept a clean sheet.
How would you sum up the game?
Obviously disappointed with the end result, but we were banging the game for 65 minutes. It was in a style that we don't want to play like that, but it's where we are at the minute. We have got the Champions League winners and current Premier League leaders here at St James's Park. We had a little bit of momentum, probably the biggest amount of momentum we had in the game just before their first goal. Once the first goal goes in, it becomes a difficult afternoon. We'll concede 2 more in the next 15 minutes, so that's a disappointment because the game was a lot tighter than that, for a longer period than that. So we'll chop it up and we'll assess it and we'll try and improve for next week.
Ben Chilwell scoring, it's Reece James scoring now. Just how important are these wide players in your system?
Well, in the system, for any team, I think, who plays with wing backs, it's important that to create a goal threat, to arrive with enough bodies in the box, enough people in the box. And this is necessary that we do it with the wing backs and, of course, with all the strikers. And in the second half, we increased a bit the risk and had more people around the box to hopefully create a bit more chances, and we want them to arrive in the decisive spaces to have more goal threat. Marcos Alonso was decisive in the beginning of the season. Aspi is always involved when he plays on the position, and now Ben Chilwell, Reece contributing goals. It's good, and we need it.
The purity of the strike, I'll leave Newcastle out of it for a bit, of Reece James makes you realise, yes, actually makes sense that he was a striker when he was younger because he hits the ball so cleanly.
Yeah,
I'm not saying fullbacks scuff all the time.
Strikers do, though. Midfield players and defenders, rubbish.
Yeah,
but look,
he really does.
takes his time, and look at the preparation there. Let me just take it into the pitch a little bit more in order to open the goal up. If you watch it there, he takes it to his left, open up the goal, bit more area to hit, and he just pings it with his left foot. Just strikes through it, doesn't try and thrash at it. You know what it's like, Don? Sometimes you strike those ones, and you don't even feel it hit your foot, do you?
Timing.
Like this one.
Timing.
This is the same, isn't it?
It's timing.
It's pure time. It's like a golf shot or a cricket shot. If you hit it really well, you actually haven't tried to hit it too hard.
Yeah, it's the golfers out there will know when you hit a 3 or 4 iron and you've hardly swung it and it goes an absolute mile and you go, timing must have been perfect. That's what happens with a football strike when you hit it pure and you hit the ball centrally. And he's got lovely technique.
Yes. So look at the. How would you feel as a centre forward that the 2 full-backs are the leading goals?
Did you hear what he said afterwards? Thomas Tuchel, he went, maybe I might play Timo Werner and Lukaku as wing-backs.
Good.
Scoring all the goals.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it? That's what you want, spread the goals about, but they've just gone above and beyond so early in the season to get as many goals as that, and really good goals as well. Everybody's contributing for Chelsea. Everybody's contributing, and I think Thomas Tuchel is happy. I've said it again many times, that everybody's talking about Liverpool and City. No one's talking about Chelsea at the moment.
I don't like the way Mark's pulling the face.
Apart from those who said they would win the league, no one's talking about it now.
I don't like the way Mark's pulling the face.
Should we go to the break?
Well, you need to get a manager in during the international window at the latest.
ASAP.
Correct?
ASAP.
ASAP, yes.
We are now...
soon as possible.
Massively, if we weren't in it already, in a relegation scrap.
Yeah.
The wins for Burnley and the wins for Leeds.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, you look at that league table and now we've got to go back-to-back wins.
Richest club in the world. What are you panicking for? Richest club in the world.
I am starting to panic.
Mbappe's going and all sorts.
Tony Kroos, you got linked to yesterday. He's leaving Real Madrid to go to the North East in a relegation scrap. Got to get a manager in. Get on the phone to Frank Lampard and go, Frank, get yourself up.
No one is signing for Newcastle until there's a manager, obviously.
Correct.
If you're a player,
We've got to work that out.
If you're a player, you are waiting to see who the manager's going to be.
Who am I playing for?
Exactly.
What's the project?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know what the money is. What's the project?
Who's my boss?
Who's the boss?
Well, we've seen 1 home win, 1 draw and 7 away wins across this match week. We haven't seen that many away wins so far. this season. But sometimes you see a goal and you just have to watch it back. And Reece James's goal against Newcastle was just a beauty. He scored 2, but this first one, Jermaine, how good was this?
Oh, it was excellent. Everything about it. Look at his starting position here. Just waits, bides his time. He has a lovely first touch. Onto his left foot, takes his time and just absolutely levers it with the laces right into the top corner.
Is it all about that first touch?
That first touch buys him that extra half a second. And that's all you need. That's a striker's finish. And he's a fullback. But this one as well was incredible. Just cuts back, little Cruyff turn, doesn't quite work out. On the half volley, smash. No, that's an excellent finish.
It's a player full of confidence at the moment.
Yeah, the thing I really, really like about the second goal is the awareness that Darlow's not there and he needs to drill it, and drill it he does right into the back of that net. I mean, top scorer at Chelsea from their right back. I mean, I think this weekend's all about right backs, isn't it? With Ben Johnson at West Ham as well. So, I mean, yeah, everyone wants to grow up and be right back in England these days.
Yeah, I bet they do. Defenders are really having a good time at the moment as well, scoring lots of goals, and that graphic shows that. I mean, Chelsea's Premier League goals this season, defenders have scored 12 of them, midfielders 9, strikers 4. So that's quite interesting, isn't it?
Reece James has scored more than Lukaku, who cost almost £100 million.
Wow.
Just putting it out there.
Just putting it out there, lovely. And also, actually, Chelsea took advantage of the fact that Liverpool and Manchester City both dropped points this weekend as well, Jermaine.
They did indeed, and they're a really, really solid side. Even when they're not necessarily playing excellent football, they're really competent, and they're picking up points where they need to. That's the sign of champions.
Right, Liv, let's go down under and speak to David Weiner, an Australian sports reporter, live on Premier League Today from Sydney. We haven't got time to talk about the Aussies getting battered in the cricket, so we'll go straight on to the title race, David. I mean, look, it's brilliant, isn't it? How exciting is this title race for you?
Oh, sure is, guys. You know, only talking football tonight, of course, and fantastic because after those couple of years of Liverpool and Manchester City's ding-dong battle, so to speak, there's another joker in the pack in Chelsea who have set a benchmark at the moment with their lead at the top. Unfortunately, as we know from the first half hour of the show, Tottenham are not involved, Manchester United not yet, but it's also such an enthralling title race because the teams that aren't in it are laced with drama and soap opera and all the consequences what they're used to with the high-stakes Premier League. So a lot to look forward to over the coming weeks and months, and it's set beautifully because now all of a sudden Manchester City and Liverpool, who have had their grip on the league in recent years, are now going to have to hunt down Chelsea, and it's going to be fascinating.
And David, you know, we see all the time what the UK papers say about it here, but what are the papers in Australia, what are the online articles saying about this title race, and who are they going for?
Well, I think the major change is at the beginning of the season, there was a lot of inclusion of Manchester United in a top 4 that couldn't be split, whether it be pundits, former players that are playing the Premier League that are Australians, or just the general online chatter. And that obviously has been chipped away at in recent weeks. And the big line at the moment is just how formidable Chelsea look in their strength in depth, but also the fact that the defence is so formidable despite all the talk nominally being about the attacking riches. And we'll discuss it in a moment, but of course then as well there's Manchester City in their striker discussion, Liverpool and what they did to Manchester United a few weeks back. But with Chelsea, you just have to look at the moment at the machine Thomas Tuchel has built, and the fact that on the weekend, no Lukaku, no Werner, no Kovacic, no Mount, well, Reece James step up, and even though Chelsea had all the possession and took a bit of time to find that breakthrough, you just knew it was going to be inevitable. And the success that he's built on that foundation is the fact of 18 clean sheets in 29 Premier League matches in charge. Chelsea know that if they get that inevitable goal, they are likely to have a clean sheet to build on behind them. Thomas Tuchel's man management has been absolutely intriguing to watch, because you got a situation now where the likes of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Ross Barkley, they're getting a taste and they're contributing. And I guess to sum it all up, when Edouard Mendy goes off to the Africa Cup of Nations, Chelsea's going to have a Kepa in goals, who's not the man that Chelsea wanted to sell a couple of years back. He's going to have a renewed confidence. So Tuchel has them in a very, very interesting position at this point in the season.
Yeah. Look, David, you can never rule Manchester City out of any title race, really. But you look at recent results, and obviously Crystal Palace were excellent. City were down to 10, lost that game. The game before that knocked out the League Cup. Brighton, they were excellent, but second half, there were question marks. They haven't shown anywhere near the consistency that Chelsea have. That will be a concern for Pep and their fans.
Yeah, that's the question. It seems to be a bit of feast or famine at the moment for Manchester City. I mean, they've scored 6 at times, 5 at times, 4 at times this season, but it's quite hard to get your head around. They've gone blank 5 times this season. This is Manchester City with their incredible array of attacking riches at their disposal, and I do wonder whether those combinations, they're struggling to find that consistency this season. A few different challenges. We saw how well Patrick Vieira set up and went at them on the weekend and caught them by surprise, and a few little hurdles to overcome in terms of personnel. Maybe the integration of Jack Grealish hasn't been as smooth in terms of a consistency in the build-up. And we all know the storyline about missing out on Harry Kane. Do they need that number 9? I mean, I'd be stunned if Kane or a contingency wasn't the January narrative for Manchester City. But I don't think it's just as cut and dry as that. I think there's a few issues when teams are defending as well as Crystal Palace did on the weekend in terms of them breaking them down. And Pep Guardiola has to find that solution and that consistency in selection probably again, because at the moment it's not quite working. But it's never too far from a great day for Manchester City. You only have to look earlier in the season and everyone was saying maybe Ferran Torres can fill that void. So it's very much swings and roundabouts, but they have to be careful because Chelsea are not dropping a lot of points.
David, it feels like any time Man City lose, we're saying they need a striker, and every time Man City win, we're saying they don't need a striker. But if we turn our attention to Liverpool now, because they were 2-0 up at Anfield, they were unlucky not to go 3-0 up with that Mane goal that was disallowed through VAR. But in the end, they could have lost it, couldn't they?
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp's criticism was interesting, wasn't he? He was talking about the lack of control, the fact that at 2-0 up, maybe they didn't manage the game as well as he would have liked. And it's interesting when you look at the injury list in midfield: Fabinho, Harvey Elliott, Thiago, James Milner, now Naby Keita. I mean, that is a fair bit of cavalry, even for a club like Liverpool to replace. So it might have been a call to put some of the other players on notice. When Liverpool get it right, when Manchester United know when Liverpool get it right, they are almost impossible to contain. But this competition is about fine margins. And there've just been a few little instances with Liverpool this season: Brentford, Atletico, and again on the weekend. There's different ways to get at them. There's no doubt they'll be fine. They'll be competitive, but they do have to make sure that they're switched on and on their best, because points are at a premium for Liverpool, given we know the loss of Salah and Mane for the African Cup of Nations is a big factor in their season. So as good as Brighton have been at the moment, Liverpool can't be affording to be dropping points at 2-0 up in those situations.